"My flames don't hurt you," said the dragon child. The elders panicked. The human colony nestled in the valley had been established a decade ago, after explorers discovered its fertile soil and rich mineral deposits. Life was predictable and controlled. The colonists went about their work with precision, mining, farming, and studying the strange flora that thrived in the mountain shadows. Yet, no matter how much they thought they understood the world, there were still mysteries waiting beyond the known paths, and the mountains held the deepest secrets. One evening, the sky pulsed with faint streaks of glowing energy. Sensors scattered across the colony picked up unusual readings, and scientists grew uneasy. They had seen anomalies before, strange bursts of radiation or magnetic disturbances, but these were different. They moved with purpose, almost as if they were alive. A team of researchers, led by Dr. Liana Cross, decided to investigate. They prepared a small survey group with protective gear, vehicles, and instruments, ready for anything. The mountains were taller than anyone had expected. Jagged cliffs cut into the horizon, and the wind howled through narrow passes, carrying scents of minerals and unknown vegetation. The team carefully navigated the terrain, following the energy readings that led them further north than anyone had dared to go. As they climbed a steep ridge, the sensors began to spike erratically. The air shimmered, and a low, humming sound vibrated through their chests. Then, suddenly, movement. Something leaped from the edge of a cliff, landing gracefully a few meters away. The researchers froze. It was small, no taller than a human child, but its body shimmered in shades of red, gold, and bronze. Scales covered its skin, reflecting the moonlight like molten metal. Its eyes glowed golden, and faint wisps of fire danced around its hands without burning the rocks or air. The creature tilted its head curiously, studying the humans. A collective gasp escaped the group. "Is it alive?" whispered one of the assistants. Dr. Cross stepped forward cautiously. "It's intelligent," she said, more to herself than anyone else. "Look at the way it's observing us." The child, if that was what it was, moved closer, its movements fluid and almost playful. Then it did something unexpected. A small flame leapt from its hand toward a nearby rock, and instead of scorching the surface, it swirled gently around it like smoke. No heat, no harm. The humans stared, hearts pounding. None of their training had prepared them for this. One of the younger researchers, Tom, extended his hand tentatively. It won't hurt me, right?" he asked. To everyone's shock, the flames around the child's hands drew back, retreating slowly, as if responding to Tom's gesture. The child spoke then, its voice melodic and soft, carrying an authority that belied its size. "My flames don't hurt you." A hush fell over the group. They had expected hisses, roars, maybe even an attack. Instead, there was calm, almost a promise in the words. Dr. Cross swallowed hard, her mind racing. We need to bring this back to the colony," she said. The child tilted its head again, curious. It made no move to resist. Somehow it seemed to understand, even willing itself to comply. Back at the colony, news traveled fast. By the time the elders received the report, the entire population was buzzing with speculation. Meetings were held in urgent secrecy. The elders, experienced and cautious, debated fiercely. "This could be a blessing," said one. "A being capable of manipulating energy without harm. Think of what we could learn." "Or it's a threat," argued another. "It's unknown. We don't know its origins or intentions. How do we know it won't turn on us? One mistake and the colony could be destroyed." Fear settled over the council chamber like a heavy fog. The elders had spent years preparing for alien encounters, designing defensive protocols, building walls, and stockpiling weapons. Now, the anomaly was real, standing there alive, yet unlike anything they had imagined. Meanwhile, Dr. Cross had secured the child in a temporary containment area, not to imprison it, but to observe it safely. The dragon child, as the team had started calling it, watched everything with bright, golden eyes. It explored the room carefully, touching walls, instruments, and even the humans with tiny, harmless flames. Every interaction was gentle, deliberate, full of curiosity. The team worked tirelessly to communicate. Simple gestures, then words, then patterns. Slowly, the dragon child responded. It could mimic sounds, recognize objects, and even react to emotions. When someone was calm, it came closer. When someone was scared, it retreated. The humans began to see a personality, a being with thought, awareness, and perhaps even feelings. Not everyone was convinced. The elders demanded strict monitoring. "We cannot afford a single error," they insisted. If this creature's abilities escalate, we may have to act. Our duty is to protect humanity, not to experiment with unknown powers. Tensions rose in the colony. Some colonists admired the dragon child, seeing a new era of science, wonder, and discovery. Others feared it, whispering of disaster, of fire consuming the settlement. The divide deepened each day. Outside the research area, the northern mountains remained wild and mysterious. The dragon child often looked toward them, its eyes reflecting longing. Dr. Cross noticed this and speculated that the child might belong there, that its home, or its kind, might still exist in the unexplored peaks. But every attempt to move the child toward the mountains was met with subtle resistance. It did not run, but it did not leave willingly either. One evening, while the sun set and painted the sky in shades of pink and orange, the dragon child climbed onto a platform and let its flames curl into the air. No heat, no destruction. Only light and warmth that felt comforting to the humans around it. Dr. Cross stood nearby, marveling. "It's trying to show us something," she said softly. "It wants us to understand." That night, the colony was quiet but not peaceful. The elders met again, voices low but urgent. "We cannot predict what will happen," one said. "It is too powerful. One day it may act in ways we cannot control. We must be ready." Dr. Cross listened from outside the chamber, her heart heavy. She had seen the child save a technician from a falling crate without even touching him. She had seen it soothe frightened colonists with nothing more than a gentle glow. How could anyone think of it as a threat? Yet, fear was powerful. Fear made people see monsters where none existed. The dragon child's presence had already begun to change the colony. Children whispered about it, adults debated endlessly, and the elders' anxiety was palpable. Still, in its quiet way, the dragon child continued to explore, to learn, and to trust. It spent hours with Tom and a few others, mimicking songs, playing games, and even helping with minor repairs using its harmless flames. Its energy was astonishing, but its control was absolute. Nothing was destroyed, nothing was harmed. And yet the tension remained. Every night the elders looked to the containment area, wondering when the creature might grow beyond their understanding. Every day, Dr. Cross looked at the child and hoped humanity would see what she saw, a being of immense power tempered with kindness, a potential ally rather than a threat. On the fifth night, a strange event occurred. The northern mountains pulsed again with energy. Lights flickered in patterns as though a signal had been sent. The dragon child's eyes brightened and it looked toward the peaks, then at the humans. For the first time, it seemed anxious, eager, almost pleading. Dr. Cross approached cautiously. "Are you trying to tell us something?" she asked. The child looked at her, flames flickering softly around its hands. "They come," it whispered, not aloud but within her mind. The sensation was clear, urgent, filled with both warning and hope. The colony had faced many challenges, but none like this. Not a storm, not a wildfire, not even disease. This was something alive, intelligent, and far beyond their experience. A being capable of creating, destroying, or changing the very world around it, but choosing, so far, to protect rather than harm. As the suns disappeared below the horizon, the dragon child climbed onto the highest observation deck of the colony. Its flames danced harmlessly in the dark, illuminating the valley like a beacon. People gathered silently, watching, hearts pounding, unsure whether to feel fear or wonder. Dr. Cross stood among them, a sense of awe washing over her. "It's not just alive," she whispered. "It's trying to teach us, to show us that power doesn't have to destroy." And so, humanity's first encounter with the dragon child ended the day as it had begun, in uncertainty, curiosity, and hope. The northern mountains remained silent for now, but everyone sensed that this was only the beginning. Something greater was out there waiting, and the dragon child with flames that did not hurt was humanity's first bridge to it. In the hearts of some, excitement blossomed. In the hearts of others, fear took root. But for Dr. Cross, Tom, and a few others, the truth was clear. The dragon child was not a threat. It was a miracle, a puzzle, and perhaps the start of a new era. And as the stars shone above, the child whispered again, golden eyes gleaming softly, "My flames don't hurt you." The days that followed the arrival of the dragon child were filled with a mixture of wonder, fear, and cautious curiosity. The colony had never seen anything like it before. The small humanoid creature with glowing golden eyes and harmless, dancing flames could do things no human could even imagine. It could lift objects without touching them, light entire rooms with energy, and even accelerate the growth of plants in the colony's hydroponic labs. But what fascinated the colonists most was how intelligent and curious it was. Dr. Liana Cross spent long hours in the observation room, watching the child explore and experiment. It learned quickly, imitating human actions and sounds almost perfectly. When she spoke, it listened attentively. When she gestured, it mimicked her motions. Even the colony children, who were initially terrified, grew brave enough to approach it. The dragon child seemed to enjoy their company, curling flames around their toys and making them glow like lanterns. Ari, a young engineer, was the first to truly connect with the child. Unlike most adults, Ari had no fear. He saw the dragon child not as a threat, but as a being in need of understanding. He would sit for hours showing it simple machines, demonstrating how levers worked or how electricity flowed through circuits. The child's flames would hover over the machines, illuminating their inner workings without causing harm. In this way, they developed a silent partnership. Ari could communicate through gestures, and the child would respond with small bursts of energy or delicate movements of its flames. But not everyone shared Ari's calm and curiosity. The colony elders grew more uneasy with each passing day. They argued constantly about the potential danger. "We cannot predict its power," one elder insisted. "It is far beyond anything we know. What if it grows stronger and loses control?" Dr. Cross tried to calm their fears. "The child has shown no sign of aggression. Its flames do not harm anything. It is not a weapon. It is a being capable of understanding and learning. We must treat it with care, not fear." Still, the elders remained wary. They secretly instructed security teams to monitor the child at all times and to be ready for containment if necessary. Some even suggested building specialized restraints. Their panic spread quietly through the colony, sowing distrust. Despite the tension, life continued. The dragon child adapted quickly to the routines of the humans. It began to assist in daily tasks, using its flames to power lights, sterilize water, and even repair damaged equipment. Where humans had struggled with broken machinery or failing power grids, the child's harmless energy solved problems effortlessly. For many colonists, this was a miracle. One afternoon, a loud alarm echoed through the colony. A large predator from the nearby mountains had found its way into the food storage facility. The creature was enormous, its scales dark and rough, its claws sharp and deadly. Panic swept through the workers as the predator roared and began tearing through supplies. The dragon child reacted immediately. Flames curled from its hands and surrounded the predator, but they did not burn it. Instead, the flames created a barrier, a glowing shield that neither harmed nor frightened the animal, only contained it. Slowly, carefully, the child guided the predator away from the humans and toward an opening where it could escape back to the mountains. The colony watched in awe. No one had ever seen such control, such power used with care. The elders, however, were unsettled. "Its abilities are beyond our understanding," one muttered. "What if it decides one day that humans are the threat?" Ari approached the child later, kneeling to meet its glowing eyes. "You saved them," he said softly. "They didn't even see what you did, but I did. You're not here to hurt us, are you?" The child tilted its head and let its flames curl around Ari's hands in a warm, protective glow. It was a gesture of trust, a silent answer that echoed in Ari's mind more than in words. From that moment, Ari became the child's closest human friend and translator, helping the others understand it better and teaching it about human life, games, and customs. At night, the dragon child would climb to the observation deck and watch the stars, flames dancing gently in the cool air. Its mind seemed to reach outward, toward the mountains, toward the universe. Ari sometimes joined it, lying beside the creature and pointing out constellations, trying to share the small wonders of the night sky. Meanwhile, tensions in the colony continued to simmer. The elders' warnings grew louder. "Its powers could escalate at any time," one said during a council meeting. "We must prepare defenses. If it acts against us even unintentionally, we will not survive." Dr. Cross argued passionately. "You're seeing threats where none exist. The child has never harmed anyone. It shows understanding and compassion. We cannot let fear dictate our actions." But the elders were unmoved. Their panic was not just about the child. It was about control, survival, and the unknown. They had spent decades preparing for alien encounters, And now the unknown was here, breathing, thinking, and glowing with flames that did not hurt. The next challenge came unexpectedly. A severe storm struck the colony, one stronger than any recorded in its 10-year history. Winds tore across the valley, uprooting trees and flooding the fields. The power grids failed, leaving the settlement in darkness. Panic spread quickly. The humans tried to secure buildings and protect crops, but there was little they could do. The dragon child reacted without hesitation. It released flames into the storm clouds, harmlessly energizing the atmosphere. Electricity crackled safely around it, illuminating the colony and guiding workers through the wind and rain. Machinery that had been offline came back to life as the child's energy flowed into the circuits, stabilizing the systems. By the time the storm passed, the colony was largely intact. Damage had been minimized, and the colonists realized the child's abilities were not only harmless but incredibly useful. Even the elders had to admit its potential, though their fear did not disappear entirely. After the storm, Dr. Cross held a meeting with Ari and the few colonists who had grown close to the dragon child. "It is learning from us," she said, "and we are learning from it. Its abilities are extraordinary, but it is not dangerous. Not if we continue to show trust and understanding." Ari nodded, watching the child play with a small piece of machinery, flames curling over it without burning anything. "It's like it wants to help, to teach us something we couldn't learn on our own," he said. Days turned into weeks. The dragon child began understanding human language more clearly. It could respond with simple words, mimicking voices perfectly. It learned to anticipate problems, offering solutions before they were even requested. It became a quiet teacher, a helper, and a companion. Children loved it, scientists admired it, and many colonists began to see it as a part of their community. Yet, despite all the wonder, the elders remained wary. They held secret meetings discussing containment plans and defensive strategies. Fear of the unknown still haunted them. Some colonists were caught between admiration and anxiety, unsure how to feel. Was the dragon child a miracle, a blessing, or a danger waiting to happen? One evening, Ari found the child staring toward the northern mountains again. Its flames were small, curling and flickering like a heartbeat. "Do you miss them?" he asked softly. The child's eyes shone brightly, almost sorrowful. Ari reached out, letting the flames curl over his hands. They were warm but not hot, comforting and gentle. The child nodded slightly, a gesture that spoke of longing and memories unknown to the humans. Dr. Cross watched silently from a distance, understanding that the child's past, and perhaps its family, was still out there, somewhere in the vast, untamed mountains. That night, the colony slept under a sky filled with stars, unaware that the dragon child's flames had illuminated more than just the settlement. They had caught the attention of distant sensors, alien watchers who had been scanning the sector for signs of life. Unknown to the humans, the child's arrival was not just a local event. It was the beginning of a story that stretched far beyond Urindor, a story that would test humanity's courage, wisdom, and compassion. And through it all, the dragon child remained gentle, curious, and harmless. It continued to explore, to play, and to teach. Its flames, though powerful, never destroyed, never harmed, and never threatened. For those who watched closely, it became clear that this small being carried the potential for something extraordinary, a bridge between the known and the unknown, between fear and understanding. The colony had entered a new chapter, one of discovery, trust, and subtle wonder. But the elders' fear, the aliens' distant gaze, and the mysteries of the mountains promised that challenges were yet to come. Humanity had met the dragon child, and the world would never be the same. The child, perched on the observation deck under the soft glow of its flames, looked at Ari and Dr. Cross. Its golden eyes reflected both innocence and wisdom beyond its years. And in the quiet of the night, it spoke again, softly, confidently, almost as a promise. "My flames don't hurt you." The colony had grown accustomed to the dragon child, but the elders' unease only deepened. Even as children played safely under the creature's gentle flames, and engineers marveled at its ability to solve problems, a sense of tension hovered over the settlement. Fear of the unknown, deeply rooted in their history, gnawed at the council. The dragon child's powers were extraordinary, but extraordinary power always carried uncertainty. One morning, the alarm system blared. The sky above the colony rippled with strange energy patterns, not of storm or weather, but deliberate, intelligent signals. Colonists looked up in confusion and fear. The dragon child's golden eyes widened. Its flames curled in the air instinctively, alert and cautious. Something or someone was approaching from orbit. The elders convened immediately. "We cannot risk exposure," one insisted. "This being, no matter how gentle, may have drawn attention to us. We must prepare for defense." They ordered the deployment of energy shields and emergency protocols. Weapons were prepped, and patrols were sent to high vantage points. Fear now gripped the colony like a vice. Dr. Cross argued, "We don't know who is coming. We have no reason to believe it is hostile. Let's observe first, gather information, and act rationally." But reason rarely quelled fear. Some of the elders secretly planned to contain the dragon child, believing it might become humanity's weakness if outsiders discovered it first. From orbit, a fleet of alien ships emerged, sleek and silver, gliding with effortless precision. They were unlike any human designs, their forms elegant, almost organic yet technological. The colony's communications systems struggled to detect signals, but the dragon child reacted immediately. Its flames expanded, forming intricate patterns in the air that seemed to resonate with the incoming ships. Ari watched in awe. "It recognizes them," he whispered to Dr. Cross. "It knows they're here." The dragon child nodded, and in its own gentle way, it projected thoughts, images, and emotions into Ari's mind. He saw visions of beings observing, analyzing, and calculating. These were the Cathurians, an alien race that had been monitoring the child's energy from afar for centuries. They were neither immediately hostile nor friendly. They wanted to assess whether the creature could be weaponized. The elders panicked. "We cannot negotiate with beings like these," one said. "We must act first, prepare containment, prepare weapons, prepare for anything." Dr. Cross, Ari, and a few trusted colonists argued for a different approach. "The child can communicate with them," Dr. Cross said. "It can show them we mean no harm. We must trust it." The Cathurian ships descended, hovering silently above the colony. Lights shimmered across their surfaces, scanning, measuring, probing. For hours, there was no movement, only observation. Then a transmission reached the colony. Its form was strange, almost musical in tone, but through Ari's connection with the dragon child, its meaning became clear. "We have come to assess the creature. Will humans cooperate?" The elders hesitated. Cooperation meant exposing the colony to unknown risks. Containment meant betraying the dragon child, a being that had shown nothing but care. The debate raged for hours, tensions stretching every nerve in the settlement. Finally, Ari stepped forward, guided by the dragon child's gentle projection of confidence and trust. "We will cooperate," he said. "The child is with us and it speaks for all of us. We want peace." The Cathurian's response was calm, almost approving. The child moved to the open, flames dancing harmlessly in the air. It projected its essence toward the aliens, not as a weapon, but as a demonstration of control, power, and understanding. Energy arced and shimmered around the colony, illuminating the valley in a breathtaking display. Yet nothing burned, nothing broke, only light and warmth radiated outward. The Cathurians seemed to understand. Their ships shifted position, moving closer but without aggression. Sensors scanned the child carefully, testing reactions, observing restraint and intelligence. The elders, meanwhile, watched in horror and awe. They had feared the dragon child, yet it was now their shield, their mediator, and their voice of diplomacy. Even as the Cathurians assessed the situation, a faction within the colony acted. Fear had driven them to desperation. They attempted to seize the dragon child, planning to hand it over to the aliens as a bargaining tool. Guards moved with weapons drawn, creeping through corridors to reach the child. The dragon child reacted instantly, its flames forming protective circles and barriers, not to harm, but to block. The humans attempting capture found themselves gently restrained, unable to proceed without injury or threat. Its control was precise, deliberate. Ari rushed forward, speaking to the colonists in mind and voice, trying to calm them. "Stop! It does not want to hurt anyone." "Listen to it." The attempted capture failed. The dragon child, with Ari guiding its communication, projected emotions of peace, warning, and understanding to the humans around it. Slowly, fear turned into awe. Even the elders felt the power of its restraint, tempered with mercy. Once calm returned, the dragon child turned to the skies again. The Cathurians' ships had moved into position, forming a wide circle over the valley. One of the ships emitted a signal, a probe that hovered gently near the child. The dragon child reached out with flames, not to strike, but to envelop the probe in harmless energy, demonstrating control and the ability to channel power safely. The aliens observed silently, studying every motion. The child's power was immense, yet tempered with compassion and discipline. It had potential for destruction, yes, but it had chosen restraint. It was intelligence paired with understanding. The elders, witnessing all of this, felt a mixture of shame and relief. Their fear had blinded them. They had wanted to control, restrain, or even destroy, yet it was this very being they had feared that had prevented potential disaster. They had underestimated the dragon child's wisdom, compassion, and judgment. Days passed. The Cathurians continued their assessment but did not attack. Instead, they observed, exchanged information, and even demonstrated subtle energy manipulations of their own. Ari, Dr. Cross, and a few others acted as intermediaries, guided by the dragon child's gentle telepathic communication. Slowly, trust began to form, not just between humans and the child, but between humans and the alien visitors. During this period, the dragon child displayed abilities that astonished everyone. It could create protective energy fields around buildings during minor tremors, control fires without harm, and even manipulate energy to grow plants faster, improving food production. Every demonstration emphasized harmony, control, and safety. The child's actions taught humans that power did not have to mean destruction. It could mean protection, growth, and understanding. Despite the aliens' presence, daily life continued. Children still played, engineers still worked, and the dragon child continued to explore, learn, and guide. Its flames became symbols not of fear, but of hope. Colonists began to call them safe flames, a reminder that power, when tempered with wisdom, could be a force for good. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the northern mountains, Ari stood with the dragon child on the observation deck. The sky was filled with alien ships, silent watchers that reflected in the child's golden eyes. "Do you think they will leave us alone?" Ari asked. The child's flames flickered softly. A thought reached Ari's mind, calm and confident. "They are learning. We are showing them peace. The future depends on understanding, not fear." Ari nodded. "Then we'll help them learn, we'll help them see what we see." The elders, finally recognizing the dragon child's role as protector and teacher, began to soften. Their fear did not disappear entirely, but they started to understand that the child's power was not a threat, it was an opportunity. Humanity could learn, grow, and survive in ways previously unimaginable, guided by a being whose flames did not harm but nurtured. The colony's valley, once a place of simple routines and controlled life, now became a stage for lessons that stretched across species, intelligence, and worlds. The dragon child's harmless flames illuminated not just the settlement, but the hearts of all who watched, teaching that courage, compassion, and trust were stronger than fear. And high above in the quiet darkness of space, the Cathurians observed, their calculations interrupted by wonder. The dragon child, small yet powerful, had demonstrated what no weapon or fleet could. That intelligence, mercy, and restraint could be far greater than raw power. As night fell, the child's flames danced over the observation deck, gentle and soft. Ari watched, understanding that humanity had taken its first true step into a larger universe, not with weapons, but with friendship, trust, and the guidance of a being far beyond anything they had known. The child looked at Ari and then at the colony below, flames curling in intricate patterns. Its voice, soft and melodic, echoed in the minds of those who watched. "My flames don't hurt you." And for the first time, everyone, from children to elders, from humans to aliens, truly understood what that meant. The world had changed. Humanity had faced fear, misunderstanding, and the unknown. And in the glow of harmless flames, they had glimpsed a future filled with hope, unity, and infinite possibility. The Cathurians had departed, leaving the colony in an unusual calm. Their ships had disappeared into the blackness of space as quietly as they had arrived, but the humans remained changed. The encounter had shaken their confidence, forced them to confront fear, and most importantly, revealed the dragon child's extraordinary role. What had been viewed as a dangerous unknown was now recognized as a guide, protector, and symbol of hope. For Dr. Cross, Ari, and those who had trusted the dragon child from the beginning, relief was tempered by a new sense of responsibility. The colony had learned that fear could cloud judgment, and trust could bridge divides between species and minds. Yet the elders still worried. Though their panic had subsided, caution lingered. They understood the child's power, but what did they know of its origins? Where had it come from and why? The dragon child, however, seemed content, for the first time at ease. Its golden eyes followed the humans as they moved through the colony. Its flames danced lightly over tools, plants, and small machines, assisting quietly, efficiently, and harmlessly. Children laughed around it, playing with floating sparks that glimmered in the fading sunlight. Engineers marveled at the child's ability to stabilize energy grids and repair complex systems without touch or machinery. Every day brought new discoveries, new lessons. Ari often spent time at the observation deck with the child, teaching it simple human games, sharing stories, and pointing out stars. The dragon child listened, absorbing information rapidly, sometimes responding with small, gentle flames or by mimicking sounds perfectly. Through this, a bond deepened, one based on understanding rather than fear or authority. One day, while observing the northern mountains, the dragon child's expression shifted. Its flames flickered higher, brighter, as though sensing something distant and important. Dr. Cross and Ari noticed immediately. "Do you feel that?" Ari asked. The child's flames swirled in a pattern that seemed deliberate, communicating emotion more than sound. It projected thoughts to Ari, images of distant peaks and glowing figures, other beings like itself, watching, waiting, perhaps even calling. The realization brought a mixture of awe and concern. The child was not alone. Its kind might still exist in the unexplored reaches of Urindor. Dr. Cross understood what it meant. The dragon child's presence in the colony was temporary, a bridge, a messenger between species and worlds. Ari nodded, understanding instinctively. "Then we need to be ready when they come," he said softly. Over the following weeks, the colony began to change. Humans, guided by the dragon child, experimented with safe ways to use energy, learning from the child's control. Buildings became more efficient, machines repaired themselves with assistance from harmless energy flows, and crops flourished under subtle manipulation of light and warmth. Life improved in ways they had never imagined. Children were fascinated. They no longer feared the glowing flames, but saw them as tools for learning and play. Colonists spoke often of the child, no longer in hushed tones of worry, but with admiration and respect. Even the elders, once skeptical and fearful, began to see the potential. Meetings were no longer about fear and containment, but about guidance, learning, and the future. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the valley, a small group of elders approached Dr. Cross and Ari. "We were wrong," said the eldest among them, his voice quiet but sincere. "We feared what we did not understand. The child has shown us that power need not destroy. It can teach, protect, and inspire. We wish to learn if the child allows it." The dragon child's flames flickered, gentle and welcoming, as if acknowledging their change of heart. It moved toward them, flames hovering harmlessly, forming patterns of light and warmth. The elders felt the message clearly. Trust was the foundation of connection, understanding the key to power. As the months passed, humanity's bond with the dragon child deepened. It taught humans about energy manipulation, harmony, and subtle control. Machines ran more efficiently, cities used energy wisely, and ecosystems within the colony flourished. Humans began to understand that intelligence, mercy, and discipline could create power greater than weapons. Yet, despite progress and peace, the child remained curious about the mountains. It often returned to the observation deck at night, eyes fixed on distant peaks, flames curling around its small hands. Ari, Dr. Cross, and the other trusted humans joined it, pointing out stars, imagining worlds beyond Urindor, and wondering what other mysteries awaited. Then one morning, distant lights appeared in the mountains, small, glowing movements that hinted at life. The dragon child stiffened, flames flickering rapidly. It moved toward the edge of the observation platform, watching intensely. Ari understood without words. "They're here," he whispered. The dragon child nodded. Other beings like it were approaching, curious, cautious, and powerful. The colony held its breath. The elders and humans alike gathered to witness the event, unsure of what would happen. Yet the dragon child did not panic. Its flames rose high, forming intricate protective patterns over the settlement. It moved calmly, projecting reassurance to the colony. The newcomers arrived slowly, observing from a distance at first. The mountain beings were larger, their scales shimmering in patterns similar to the child's, their eyes bright with intelligence and curiosity. The first encounter was tentative. The dragon child stepped forward, flames gentle and warm. The mountain beings responded similarly, projecting emotions of curiosity and recognition. The humans watched in awe, seeing not only a reunion but a demonstration of communication beyond words. The dragon child had become a bridge, translating understanding between humans and beings far beyond their comprehension. Over the following days, the newcomers began to interact, slowly approaching the colony with the dragon child as mediator. Trust, patience, and careful guidance allowed a connection to form. Humans, once fearful, learned the importance of listening, observing, and respecting differences. With the dragon child's help, the colony experienced its first interspecies diplomacy. During one meeting at the Valley's center, the dragon child demonstrated its abilities to protect and nurture. Flames curled around machines, plants, and people alike, showing that energy could be controlled perfectly, safely, and beneficially. The newcomers seemed impressed, their expressions showing understanding and approval. Even the elders, often skeptical and cautious, watched quietly, absorbing lessons about restraint, power, and compassion. With time, humans learned more than technical skills. They began to understand the dragon child's philosophy, that true strength lay not in aggression or control, but in empathy, intelligence, and harmony. Colonists began to treat each other with more patience, cooperation, and respect. Children learned the value of kindness and observation. Scientists explored new ways to integrate the dragon child's methods safely into daily life. The dragon child remained a constant presence, teaching, protecting, and guiding. Its flames, once mysterious and feared, became symbols of safety, wisdom, and growth. It was no longer merely a visitor or curiosity. It was part of the colony, a teacher, a bridge, and a friend. One evening, as Ari sat with the dragon child on the observation deck, the valley bathed in golden light. The child spoke softly, projecting a calm and gentle thought into his mind. "We have done well. Humans have learned not just from me, but from themselves. They can grow, protect, and thrive together." Ari smiled, understanding that the dragon child's role was not to dominate but to inspire, not to command but to guide. As night fell, the mountain beings began to retreat, returning to the peaks but leaving a presence of understanding. The dragon child followed briefly, then returned to the colony, its flames soft and warm, illuminating the faces of humans who had once feared it. Dr. Cross approached, tears in her eyes. "You've done more than anyone could imagine," she said. The dragon child tilted its head, flames curling in gentle arcs. It had not saved the colony with force, not won respect through fear, but through patience, understanding, and care. Ari joined her, looking at the glowing creature. "It showed us the future," he said. "A future where we learn, where we trust, and where we grow together." The child flickered its flames lightly, as if acknowledging the truth in his words. Over time, the colony transformed. Humans applied the lessons learned from the dragon child and the mountain beings to improve life on Erendor. Cities were rebuilt with efficiency and sustainability, energy systems worked without waste, and ecosystems flourished. Children played safely, adults worked together, and the elders, once driven by fear, guided with wisdom and understanding. The dragon child became a symbol of unity. Its harmless flames reminded everyone that power did not have to destroy, that intelligence paired with compassion was stronger than aggression, and that understanding bridged divides between species, worlds, and minds. Years later, Ari often recalled the early days when humans had feared what they could not understand. He thought of Dr. Cross, of the elders, of the children who had grown alongside the dragon child. Most of all, he remembered the words that had defined the creature from the very beginning: "My flames don't hurt you." Those words had carried the promise of protection, of learning, and of hope. They had bridged species, forged alliances, and inspired a new way of thinking. Humanity had faced the unknown, not with weapons or fear, but with trust and courage. And because of that choice, they had grown stronger, wiser, and united with a being far beyond anything they had imagined. At night, as the twin moons rose over the valley, the dragon child sat on the observation deck, flames curling gently over its hands, reflecting in golden light. Ari stood beside it, silently grateful. The future was uncertain, as all futures are, but one thing was clear. With trust, understanding, and guidance, humanity could meet it, face it, and thrive. The child whispered once more, softly, almost as a promise, its flames flickering in rhythm with the wind. "My flames don't hurt you." And for the people of Urindor, those words were not only true, they were the foundation of a new era.